Hey, everybody, this is Scoots. This is a new kind of experimental version of Sleep With Me we've never done before. So welcome. These are just bedtime stories from our podcast, Sleep With Me. And to make them feel fresh, these ones are from a couple of years ago. So if you're a regular listener, you might get a refresh. And if you're new, these are just bedtime stories from a show called Sleep With Me. They're strange, they're meandering, they're a little bit different. And all this is made possible by listeners like you, regular listeners like you. And so I just want to let you know that's how we're able to put the show out. And so if you are a fan of Sleep With Me, you listen to it on a regular basis, please consider supporting the show. You get ad-free episodes, you get ad-free story-only episodes, tons of other cool stuff at Sleep With Me Plus. That's sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. But if you're in a position and you have some money every month, or you say, hey, maybe I don't watch that streaming service, I'd rather give it to a podcast, think about your favorite podcast. It doesn't have to be Sleep With Me, and support that podcast. If it is Sleep With Me, I consider supporting the show, would be great. But if it isn't, or there's a podcast you listen to way more, brings you a lot of value during the day, please support that podcast. Podcasting is going through a different time right now, and your favorite podcast, the one you get the most out of, could use your support the most. So consider supporting it however they request support. Just check it out, like listen to the show or check out their website, or consider supporting Sleep With Me. If Sleep With Me, you say, oh no, Sleep With Me is the one I listen to the most, sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Thanks. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who's usually his thoughts get stuck in the mud or slowed down, bogged down. Bogged down's my game. Scoots is my name. Putting you to sleep is what's hopefully we won't even, would be your thoughts I'm trying to tame. Rhymes are not my strong suit, that's plain. But what do you say, we slow it down? Or what do we do next? Oh, no, it's time for Sleep With Me, podcast to put you to sleep. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots. This is a quick message here. If you get a lot out of Sleep With Me, if you're a regular listener, you like these new things we're trying out, like the story-only version of the show. If you're new, don't worry about any of this. But if you're a regular listener of Sleep With Me, or you're a regular listener of any podcast, if you have a favorite podcast and it's not Sleep With Me, that's totally cool. If you have podcasts you listen to way more or you get way more value out of, I totally understand that. Consider supporting that podcast. Podcasting as an industry is kind of going through a weird phase right now. Direct support from listeners is going to be, it seems like it's going to be the future of most shows. And so consider supporting the podcast you really love. And you could do that. You could find out, you could listen to the show and see how they ask to be supported, or reach out to them and say, hey, how can I support you? Or if you can't afford, a few dollars a month, you say, hey, how else can I support you? But if Sleep With Me is the one, Sleep With Me Plus is the best way to support Sleep With Me. Sign up for Sleep With Me Plus. Not only you get an unbelievably sweet, different ways to listen to the show, but it's a huge help for us to be able to do stuff like this. But yeah, think about what your favorite podcast is, and then go ahead and go to their website, or if you already know how they like to be supported, support that show. Thanks and good night. All right, everybody, this is Scoots here, and I'm opening a board game, another board game unboxing. This is a game I bought a while ago. I think it was either sold out or it was a Kickstarter, and I don't know, like some blog or somebody I follow said, hey, this game is going to be on sale and you could buy it ahead of time or you could get on the waiting list. And the theme of the game definitely had my interest, so that was part of the reason I bought it. So it'll be fun. But I thought for change in pace, we would open it in a different way. So I'm going to open up it comes with 3 sets of cards in the box. And instead of reading the box and telling you the title of the game right away, especially since I'm going to have to change the title of the game anyway, I thought this would be fun. So I'm going to open up the first pack of cards and go through them. And I have no idea anything about the gameplay. This is a fresh unboxing. I'm going to take a wrapper off one of the sets of cards. I'll be right back. Okay, so the back of these cards, I'm not sure if it's youth policy or slightly non-major policy, what it says on the back of the card, and it has an official-looking seal. Looks a bit like a certificate. These are playing card size. Okay, and this one is a kind of insurance. Keep this card when a ride closes due to a red spot, and you return this card to gain 3 money tokens. Okay, so it's a policy and this is, then the second card is the same as that. Another one. So this is a bit like the game of life where you can get different policies. Here's another policy. This one's the same. It's in case of your ride gets damaged or yellow octagon. If your ride experiences a yellow octagon or a mustard octagon, you can return this card to gain $3. Oh boy, the next one is trouble. Purple triangle insurance or MESS. This is what you need the kitty litter for. Keep this card if your ride closes due to a purple triangle. Return the card and gain $3. Okay, this is, maybe different. Fluid insurance. This one is a blue diamond or not blue, not quite aquamarine either. What color is that? It's definitely a blue-green or green-blue. Like I'd call it a deep sea green, maybe. Not sea foam. But this is fluid insurance. Keep this card and you get $3 back. Next up, desolation policy. This is a major policy. Oh, we just went from minor ones to major policies. This one, keep this card if there's 3 closed rides in a row or a column. Discard this card to gain $6. This one's founders. When a player owns 3 adjacent rides in a row or a column, discard this to gain $6. Founders policy. This is a major policy insurance. When a player has 3 minor policies, discard this to gain 6. This is for tapping policy. Keep this card when 2 rides have all exits closed or with a no sign. Discard this card to gain 6. This is a policy in case of unforeseen circumstances. When 2 rides close at the same time, get 6 back. Crowd policy. Keep this ride, and if there are 4 meeples, and this actually has meeples. I think my first experience with meeples was, what was that game? A game I still don't even know how to play, even though I bought it on the iPad or my phone, and we tried playing it online. Not Catan, but it was a game I've still never understood totally how to play it. It's a game in that Carcassonne, I think. That has meeples, right? Open the door and see all the meeples. But this is a crowd policy. If there's 4 meeples in the park, yellow meeples, meeple means it looks like a bit like a person. Not sure, I think that's what they're called. And it's made of wood. It's like a token, I guess. If there are 4 people tokens in the park, discard this card to gain 6. Now, I don't know how you acquire these. Here's a sardine policy. Keep this card when there's 2 meeples on a ride. Discard this to gain 6. Rebuilding policy. When there are 2 closed rides on the same space, discard this to gain 6. Shutting it down policy. Keep this card when there's 10 of these, like a turquoise meeple with something on it. Discard this card to gain 6. Clinic policy. Keep this card when there's 5 of those turquoise meeples with something on it. Discard this to gain 6. Innovation policy. Keep this card when any row of the park except the first row is 5 cards wide. Discard this card to gain $6. Growth policy. Keep this card when the park is 5 rides tall. Discard this to gain 6. So it's interesting because I don't understand how you get these cards or how much money's worth, but one way to acquire money and insure yourself against things or to, I guess, like take risks. But there's 2 more sets of cards, so I'm going to get right into it. I'll be right back. So this game is similar to Action Park. There's an Action Park documentary. I did see it. I know some people asked me about it. And it did remind me of the WPIX, what do you call it? The WPIX commercials. I mean, I don't know exactly. This is a park full of action. So these are improvement cards. There's definitely a lot of cards. Should I count them? Okay, I'll count them. I'll be right back. Might be 76 cards. I'm not exactly sure. So I'm going to flip these cards over. One side says Park of Action Improvement, and then the other side has the thing on the card. First card is Complimentary Lard. Add 1 something to each ride in a row or column. All meeples exit a ride with whatever that is. Oh, jars. I guess it's jars of lard. Then another kind of fake celebrity sighting. Add 1 meeple to a ride you do not own. I'm pretty sure it was Abraham Lincoln. Balloon cards. Add 1 balloon to each ride or something to each ride in a row or column. Close a ride that has 2+ some round. I'm guessing it's a balloon symbol, but I'm not sure. Low budget signage. Choose a row or column of rides. All green meeples on those rides exit. This one says Panger Dark. Surprise, Quick Mud. Add 1 octagon yellow with a gear symbol to each ride in a row or column. All green meeples become 1 multiple yellow meeple on a ride with an octagon with a yellow octagon with a white gear, and 2+ green meeples. They will get to know one another there. Garbage partnership. Add 1 triangle trash can to each ride in a row or column. Do not, there's a do not and exit or on a ride with a garbage can. I guess that's block and exit. Pass and gas. Choose a ride. All green on that ride except 1 become a lighter green with some symbol on it. There's another garbage. Electrician internship program. Add 1 octagon with electricity each ride in a row or column. Big farm. Any 1 green meeple on a ride already with an electric thing. Practice walking calmly. All yellow multiple meeples exit all rides. Taco Tuesday. Replace 1 dark green meeple with a lighter green meeple with something on it on each ride in a row or column. Add 1 diamond with something on it to a ride with a green meeple with something on it. 1 batch all year. Vintage hoses. Add 2 diamonds with water to each ride in a row or column. Hobbyist jugglers. Choose 3 rides with a maroon circle but no green diamond. Oh, close up to 3 rides with maroon circles but no green diamonds. So I guess you're trying, I don't know if the purpose is right is to try to build your own theme park or how you, like if everyone's building their own park and you're trying to mess it up, or I don't know. Or you all work in the same park. Interesting. 30,000 sponges. Choose a ride. Move all green diamonds to the adjacent rides. Mistake on the order form. Large bag, motion bag for motion feelings. Choose a ride. Move all green diamonds with a poof on there from adjacent rides to that ride. Giant umbrellas. Remove all green diamonds from a ride with green diamonds. Big farm, one dark green meeple on that ride. Build up. Choose a ride with a green diamond. Add 2 trash can triangles and block an exit on that ride. Investor buffet. Look at 2 random unused major policies. Swap one with a major policy you have, or take one if you have none. Cool. Office heist. Swap ownership of any 2 rides. You'll be amazed at what family of 4 will do for quick passes. Insurance friend. Add 1 exclamation point green square to the ride you just placed. Take 2 different minor policies of of your choice. Wow, that's an powerful card, it seems like. They work out of the back of a van. Golf carts with buzzing friends. Add 1 triangle with a forest friend to each ride in a row or column. All triangle forest friends on a ride move to adjacent rides. Magnet suit raffle. Move all garbage can triangles and all octagon yellow gears once towards a ride with a green meeple. Send 1 green or dark gray meeple to that ride. It's really attractive. Volunteer janitor. Remove a dark green meeple from a ride. Move all purple triangles on that ride to adjacent rides. They only last a day. Worker ant union. Add 1 triangle forest friend to a ride. Move 2 other square exclamation points from that ride to adjacent rides. Playing that game where you toss the bags, the beanbag cafe. Choose a ride. Replace 1 dark green meeple on each adjacent ride with a lighter green meeple with a poof ball. Hand-drawn maps. Block and exit on 3 different rides. Is this in crayon? I can't stand it. I know you planned it. I'm going to set it straight to Watergate. Choose a ride. Add 1 square exclamation point of your choice to that ride. Mandatory souvenirs. 2 dark green meeples / light green meeples with a poof ball. Exit from a ride you do not own. 1 square with an exclamation point on that ride moves with each of them. Oh, some of these are contributed by listeners because it has like who's contributed by on the bottom of them. Electric light orchestra fountain. Add 1 octagon lightning bolt to a ride with a green diamond. Big farm, 1 dark green meeple on that ride. And add 1 octagon electric to each adjacent ride with a diamond, dark green diamond. Fresh coat of paint. Choose a closed ride that is not covered by another ride. Once, open it again as your own with +2 octagon gears, including adding 2 new dark green meeples. That seems false advertising. Add 5 dark green meeples to the park entrance. Coupon day. Add 1 multiple yellow meeple to the park entrance. 5 tickets for double half off. Discount for people with poof balls. Add 3 meeples with poof balls to the green meeples with white poof balls to the park entrance. Catching butterflies. Replace up to 3 light green meeples with a poof ball anywhere with a dark green or gray meeple. Very reasonable solution. Deep fried meat. Add 1 circle. I don't know what the circle is. A balloon to each ride with a green meeple with a poof ball. Experimental elbow grease. Remove all squares with an exclamation point from a ride. Then add 3, what are those things called? Lard circles to the ride. I guess it must be the grease they use in the rides. Let it slide. Double-decker coaster. Add 1 octagon yellow gear and 2 meeples with poof balls to a ride. Face painting forest friends. Add 2 forest friend triangles to a ride. The owner of that ride gets $2. Apple throw that's been past, what is that called? One of those apples that's been lying around for a while, throw. Hold 3 triangle forest friends high above the park as you can and then drop them. They remain on the rides they mostly land on. Exclusive audience. Remove 1 dark gray or dark green meeple / green meeple with a poof ball from each ride in a row or column. Place them at the park entrance. Hey, weather alert. Swap the location of 2 rides. 2 dark green or gray meeples become light green poof ball meeples on each ride. Bueno Boardwalk. Each player chooses a ride. Remove all exclamation point squares and add 2 water drop triangles to each one. No Bueno Boulevard. Draw 4 improvements. Give each player 1 of them and use them now in turn order. Do not move the incident marker because of those cards. All right, everybody. So those were the improvement cards. So I don't know. I guess they were like action cards. And then now I'm going to go through the rides, and we'll see how much time we have left here. There's also, then we'll go through the reference cards that also came with the ride cards. Oh, how many ride cards are there? There's a lot. I don't want to count them because I don't want to, disrespect your time. Okay, the first one is like a scrambler, fully randomized whirl twirl. Before rolling, gain $1 for each gear on this ride. Take your chances. The next one is a swing type ride, Hurley Bird. It's a really good art. Oh, by the way. Yeah, we're probably so this one has it's a swing type ride. On the top of it, it has, was that a flamingo? Then there's a burger stand next to it. Then there's also arrow cards. So it looks like something could go to the right, left, or below it. It also has a symbol in the upper left corner, which is the poof ball, the green poof ball, diamond. Hurley Bird. On failure, replace 1 dark gray meeple with a light green meeple poof ball. Exiting poof ball, green meeples, move to any ride. Bring an umbrella. So fun art. Oh, a hedge maze with only dead ends. This one is a garbage can, upper left diamond, triangle garbage can. This one, it looks like stuff can only go below it or something because it only has a down arrow. The front of it looks like an entrance to a fun house. If this ride has only 1 dark or 1 gray or green meeple with a poof, it cannot be removed or exit for any reason. So this one can kind of get locked in place. I don't know if that's good or bad. Oh, we have a castle, too tall tower. And it's a castle with a big center tower. It has arrows left, right, and down. No symbol in the upper left corner. It does have a fountain. It has people walking around the park enjoying themselves. A green meeple with a poof ball on it. Create one diamond poof ball when moved to or entering this ride. But it doesn't have a ride. I guess it's more of an attraction or walkthrough. This one's called the Ferris wheel, like Ferrous, and it has magnet on the side of it, but it is a Ferris wheel. It has left, right, and down arrows. It's a octagon with an electric symbol. On failure, move all garbage cans once towards this ride. It has a certain magnetism. Next one is called the Gravy Train, and it's a train going around a western town, but with a giant thing of gravy in the middle. Also has a little farm with some sheep, right and left symbols, no down symbol. Life-size popcorn stand, and it has the circle, maroon circle with a lard or grease symbol. When a dark gray meeple or a multiple yellow meeple here, move or exit, add one lard or grease to each to the rides they enter. Okay, next up is a triangle garbage can on the left, unstoppable bumper cars. It only has a down arrow. It's bumper cars going on like a checkerboard thing. It also has like a ice cream cone stand, soft serve, swirl, or twist. Before rolling, block and exit on a ride in the same row or column as this ride. Secondhand swing ship. So this is a swing ship. It's over water, like all good ship rides are. It has a under the sea friend waiting. It also has a splash pad to the upper left that toddlers could play on. It has an octagon gear symbol and a down and right arrows. On failure, add one octagon gear to the rides to left and right. The ad said it still has the boats. Here's a kid's boat adventure. So this is a bit like Pirates of the Caribbean or Jurassic Park. It has like waterfalls and a tunnel and then like a flume ride. It's a diamond water symbol on the left, upper left. It has a right arrow and a down arrow. All gray meeples on this ride become light green poof meeples on this ride. This ride is immune to diamond poof balls. This was much cuter in the 1950s. Methane inflated obstacle course. So this has the circle maroon symbol, which is kind of like a puddle, I guess. On failure, add one puddle to each adjacent ride. You get 2 minutes in this, and this is just like one of those big bouncy house obstacle courses, but methane inflated. There's also a kid on the top playing with a sheep, or playing the hide and seek almost, it looks like. Oily teacups. This has the circular maroon grease symbol. It has down, left, and right arrows. This is very much like the Mad Teacups. It has a teapot in the middle and then 3 circles with teacups on them. Teacup is steaming. On failure, one gray meeple exits each adjacent ride. Carpet static slide. So this is your typical giant slide. Three levels. It's purple, though, with the stairs that go up it. This is the kind of thing you see at street fairs. This one actually looks a lot nicer. On failure, add 1 electric octagon to an adjacent ride and Big Farm 1 gray meeple on that ride. Also has a bus, a school bus, like dropping kids off, or maybe it's a park shuttle. Oh, it has a down arrow only. Junkyard go-karts. This is on the top left, a triangle with a garbage can. Has down and left arrows. Junkyard go-karts. On failure, add 1 garbage can to an adjacent ride. And this one kind of is like, it's a road with the go-karts, but then it has like dirt. People are cheering. It has a down arrow and a right arrow. But then there's like a junkyard in the background. Dropped tower. This one has the octagon gear symbol. Actually, it's a septagon or something, a sestagon. But I prefer to call it an octagon. It has a down arrow. And it's very advanced looking. Like it has this would be a cool one to look at night. On failure, one dark gray meeple or green meeple with a poof ball is going to the Big Farm instead of exiting. Termite-infested roller coaster. This one seemed a bit like an Indiana Jones roller coaster. It has a triangle with forest friends on it. Down and left arrows. On failure, move all the forest friends in a diamond to other rides once. So I don't know what failure means. We'll have to figure that out. Flappity Flap Man Mountain. So this is like a train ride, kind of like Big Thunder. It has a forest friend, a triangle, left and down arrows. Really looks like a fun ride. Looks a lot like a version of Big Thunder. On failure, add 1 triangle forest friend to a non-adjacent ride. Stomach rotor. I don't know what ride this is. Oh, it's the one where, I don't know what they were called, where you lie. Gravitron, that's what we called it. It has an octagon gear, left and right. The pictures are very cheery. I'm not even being ironic. The art is very upbeat. Before rolling, you may add 1 gear to gain $1 per meeple on the ride of any type of meeple. So that's the one I would want. I would want the stomach rotor. Okay, Lightning Madness. This is like an extreme coaster in a solar park with Tesla coils. It's an electric octagon, obviously. Only has a down arrow. Again, looks futuristic. Before rolling, add 1 octagon lightning to the ride with the most green diamonds. It's the shocks that make it immersive. Head Scrambler. This is a tilt-a-whirl, which I know some people don't feel good on tilt-a-whirls. It has some, also some Renaissance Fair tents nearby. It has a green diamond with a splat symbol, down, left, and right arrows. All exiting gray meeples become green meeples with a poof. Fool Launcher. This one is one of those balls that, these are the rides that kind of cost extra, like a swing ride. Also has a soda stand nearby. It's a garbage can diamond. It just has a down arrow. Exiting gray meeples move to non-adjacent rides. Next up is Farewell Falls, which is looks like a boat ride. Maybe they're in a shell with a big steep drop. It has a water diamond down, left, and right. Oh, maybe this was a Kickstarter because it says designed by Kickstarter previewers, this ride. Farewell Falls. On failure, add 1 diamond water to an adjacent ride, then move 1 other exclamation point square on that ride to an adjacent ride. Stay out of the splash zone. Trust me. After that, we have Sticky Wall Slam, which is one of like a climbing wall. Also looks like it has other like fun things, like what do you call that? A bounce zone or whatever. Left, right, and down arrows. On failure, this ride gains a diamond or triangle garbage can. Exclamation square, dark gray meeple, and green meeple with a poof cannot exit or be moved or removed from this ride. Forest Friend Manor. So this is like the one where you, like for Halloween, you would say. It has a triangle, Forest Friend, down, left, and right arrows. On failure, add 1 triangle with Forest Friend to this ride, to each ride with a garbage can triangle. This ride is immune to garbage can triangles. Alpine Slide. This one has, what do you call those things? Chairlift, snow. Really looks good. It has a maroon grease symbol. You may re-roll 1 die per grease symbol, diamond with water, or diamond with splat on this ride. Exiting meeples move down twice. Wave Pool. This is a water diamond. It has down, left, and right arrows. Before rolling, you may add 1 water diamond to this ride. Twister Ride. This has a gear octagon, down, left, and right arrows. On success, 1 dark gray meeple on an adjacent ride is replaced with a light green meeple with a poof ball. On failure, Big Farm, 1 light green poof ball. This one's not called WandaVision, but I want to call it WandaVision. It's some sort of 3D motion attraction. Down, left, and right arrows, a triangle or a diamond with a splat. When a dark gray meeple or a poof ball green meeple here, move or exit, add 1 splat diamond each to the rides they enter. Reflection Misdirection. So this is like a Hall of Mirrors type thing. Indoors, so that'd probably be, cool. Left and right arrows. Diamond splat. When this ride gains an exclamation point square, when it is not your turn, add 1 exclamation point square of the same type to an adjacent ride. Ooh, a hayride. We used to go on these. This is what they had for Halloween by us. Halloween hayride. It's a garbage can diamond. Left, right, and down arrows. It has a pumpkin with some special effects. It has, it has just like the hayride by me. Like it has 2 women dressed as witches serving the special cider. This ride and adjacent rides close if they have 3+ maroon rounds or 3+ yellow octagons. Food Truck Corral. It also has a stage. It has a maroon circle splat. Has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 food trucks. Before rolling, you may replace 1 gray meeple on this ride with a light green poofball meeple in order to remove 1 exclamation square from this ride. Carousel. Carousel, before rolling, this is a country style one, so it's set against, it has a down arrow, diamond green splat. The carousel has like a 10-gallon hat on it, and it's in like some rolling hills. Even has some like cactus and diamonds. People are cheering. Before rolling, rotate this ride once clockwise, changing the exit. This ride is immune to blocking. So this one is like, this game is going to be, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to just think of like, who I'm going to have read these directions. Okay, next one is the Cannonball Chute. It's a water slide, famous from the documentary, has the diamond water symbol, the down arrow. Exiting dark gray meeples, move to any ride in this row. Add 1 diamond garbage can to each ride any dark gray meeples enter. Next up is Prehistoric Peril. Before rolling, move 1 adjacent dark gray meeple to this ride for each grease circle on this ride. It's a grease circle ride. On the top left has down left and right arrows. And it pretty much looks like a Jurassic Park Jeep ride, like if you were going to do a Jeep ride from Jurassic Park. This one is a ticket to the Halloween special. It has the dancing things that you see at car lots and other inflatables, seasonal inflatables for Halloween, down, left, and right. On failure, this ride gains a diamond splat green. At the end of your turn, place this ride in a different space in the park. Memory wipe light show. So this is like those light shows with like a laser light show they used to have at theme parks back in the day, or like what do you call them, IMAX theaters. Exiting meeples, dark gray or yellow, instead move to the park entrance. I don't know anyone who's seen it, actually. It says, and they have left and right arrows. It's a electric octagon. And so those are the ride cards. You can also flip them over on the other side of all the rides. It says ride closed. And it shows that the ride looks, and each one the artist changed, so the ride is permanently closed. So that's cool. Then in the turn reference, so turn reference, this must be your choices. You could build a ride, or this is what you can do. Take an improvement from below the chosen ride, roll the dice for your own rides in any order, and 4, gain money for patrons on your rides and patrons re-enter the park. And then there's challenge type and challenge color. So we kind of went through that. Exclamation point square is any type of challenge. Group patron is the yellow. Multi-meeples. Darker gray meeple is a single person patron. And the green with the poof ball is a patron who said, I'm poofed out already from being here. And yeah, the other symbols are money, block, farming, and I don't think we're going to get to the instructions, but I want to do the box. So the box is adventuring in a park. It's a big board game box, and it shows the art on the cover is more of like adventuring in the park. I say, wow, this park is under refurbishment, is what it says. It's for 2 to 4 players, 45 to 60 minutes, ages 13 plus. It's from Story Machine Games. Maybe I know it from, I don't know if Story Machine sponsors Fable and Folly podcasts. And let's see, the backside of the game says, can you make your park is about to go down for refurbishment. Can you make some profit? The easy part, build a theme park and make as much money as possible. The hard part, it's the chaos that comes with, theme parks in general. Players compete to make the most money by running an amusement park that needs desperate need of refurbishment. Players choose to add rides, make improvements, take out insurance, and most importantly, mess up their opponent's park. Rebuild when you can. Keep your patrons happy to make it to the next ticket sale before your park closes for refurbishment. It's a game of risk and reward. And then it has pictures of some of the cards. It includes 1 rule book, 35 ride cards, 60 improvement cards. For some reason, I thought there were 72 or something. 12 major policy, 12 minor policy, 8 dice, 221 tokens, 65 patron meeples, 32 ticket booth markers, 4 reference cards, 1 park sign, and 3 game trays. So it even comes with game trays. It even has an ad for game trays with a Z. Control your chaos. Game trays. All right, so all the things are in there, but I just want to look at instructions for the last few minutes here. So we kind of went over the stuff. So the components, investor tip. Tokens are not intended to run out, so if you run short, you could use something else until other components are thinged up. Also, it describes the cards, the ride name, the ability text, flavor text, challenge type, exits. Okay, so you can exit down, left or right, and the ride type. Oh, so you can block. So ones with 3 exits have 3 exits. Interesting. Okay, so setup. Place the park sign at the top of the tray and the incident marker in the 0 space. Shuffle the ride cards. Place the ride cards equal to the player count under the tray in a single row. Add 1 challenge to each ride matching its challenge type in 2 single patrons. Then what you're going to, so that's the first 2 things. Then 3, you're going to shuffle the major policy cards and deal 2 to each player. Each player chooses 1 to keep and discards the other. Then you're going to place the remaining ride cards face up in a face-up deck at the other end of the play area. Draw 3 cards face up to form a supply. I don't understand what that means. 4. Draw 3, I guess for everybody, or well, we'll see. Maybe that's 5. Separate minor policy cards into 4 types and set them within reach face up. Oh, so you get to see the minor policies. Shuffle all the improvement cards and place them face down below the ride card deck. Draw 3, and add them to the supply. 3 ride card improvements. Set aside the remaining patrons, meeples, money, and tokens to form a token supply. So there's all you just make a pile, I guess. Each player, starting the right of the first player, places a ticket booth on one of the rides below the park sign to claim ownership of that ride. Okay, so in overview, in this game, you take on the role of investors who collectively building amusement park, but running their own individual rides. Starting with the first player and going clockwise, you take turns placing rides, choosing investments, rolling dice, and gathering money during 4-phase turn, which we talked about. Building the ride, taking improvement, rolling the dice, and gaining money. The gain ends when you hit number 9 on the challenges in the park, either caused by rides closing or patrons leaving the park. If you're playing with 4 players or want to play a longer game, you could increase that to 13. A word of warning, rides are designed to go down for refurbishment permanently, and patrons will probably leave the park without a super smiley face, so use this to your advantage. Okay, so then we have the patrons, which we talked about, singles, poofed patrons, and group patrons. Group patrons are valuable and resilient. They leave your rides easily. Standard patron makes poor decisions, and patrons with poof, they produce poofs and move them to other rides. So then there's a poof symbol, which poofy patrons leave their poof balls. Mechanical symbol, broken rides, trash. That's just garbage. It's not garbage cans. Grease, grease, water, electric, forest friends, and splatters. Okay, so just finishing up here. You could build a ride. Current player selects one of 3 ride cards from the supply, adds it to the park. There's no cost to take a ride, so take the one you want. Rides must be placed facing away from the park sign as well as adjacent to any other open or closed ride or on top of a closed ride. Rides cannot be placed diagonally or separately from the rest of the park. There's no limit to the width and length of the park, but it can never go above the top row. Once added, add a challenge to the ride's ticket and a ticket booth in your color and 2 patrons. A ride with your ticket booth is owned by you. Investor tip: when placing a ride, keep in mind the exits. You want to funnel patrons to your rides, so advantageous ride placement is key. And then you improve things, which we kind of talked about. You roll the dice. Once all rides and improvements are a thing, player rolls dice ride by ride for the patrons on the rides. Do this individually for every ride you own in the order of your choice. This determines if the patrons enjoy the ride or leave for another one. When you have rolled for the ride, tip your ticket booth over to show it has been rolled for and move to a next one. Choose a ride. You will resolve everything for that ride and its effects before rolling for the next one. Roll 1 die per patron all at once, regardless of the type. Maximum of 8 dice, regardless of patrons. Check the roll. For each dice roll higher than the total amount of challenge for that ride, the roll succeeds. Rolls equal to or below the total amount of challenge on that ride don't work. For example, in the example, it has two challenges, so rolls of 3 or higher succeed. And they're using 8-sided die. If the ride has no patrons on it, you simply put down its marker and do not roll. If a roll fails, you resolve it based on the ride's card. If they succeed, you use the complete any success ability, then move on. Investor tip. If a ride has 4+ of the same token or 4+ different tokens, the ride closes. This happens after resolving any on-failure abilities. Failing rolls will cause patrons to exit, which might make you roll for them again on another ride. Consider this when choosing the order of your rides. Then you gain money. Single meeples worth, that's just the yellow meeples are worth 5. And then the patrons move. So, and there's a lot more examples. This does look like a really fun ride or game. And I'm excited to play it. But it definitely looks like it's going to take, it has a steeper learning curve, but that'll be more rewarding. Yeah, and plus it takes 45 to 60 minutes. So yeah, looking forward to playing a theme park of adventure or action. Thanks everybody and good night. I don't think everybody became a patron recently. Jackie, Casey, and Jessica. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Gail, Holly, and Shoshana. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Lucinda, Peter, and Marco. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Rachel, Ainsley, and Cindy. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Cindy, Mary, and Lisa. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Justin, Chris, and Daniel. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Chris is Stephen and Bronwyn. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Amy, Sana, and Meredith. Thank you, thanks, and good night. James, Charmaine, and Ian. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Astrid, Christine, and Kelly. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Amy, Javier, and Virgil. Thank you. Thanks. And good night. Aaron, Felicia, and Francis. Thank you. Thanks. And good night. Jacob, Lisa, and Patty. Thank you. Thanks. And good night. Sophie, Mary, and Frida. Thank you. Thanks. And good night. Dan, Michael. Thank you. Thanks. And good night. And Amber and Sarah. Thank you. Thanks. And good night. Thanks, everybody, for supporting the show. Sleep With Me exists a free podcast because you'll be able to support the show directly on Patreon or support our sponsors. We grow as a podcast by people just growing podcasting in general. Like really down the road, Sleep With Me will benefit if you just show somebody how to listen to a podcast and how to use a podcast app and what podcasts you love. And then when Sleep With Me comes up, we have a referral program that I'll talk about in a second, too. But spreading the word's a huge way to help. Thanks, and good night. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots with a tuck you in message here for our bedtime story podcast. We're trying out, and I kind of said this, free way to support Sleep With Me and bedtime stories from Sleep With Me is join our referral program, sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer, R-E-F-E-R. You get rewarded for introducing people to a free version of Sleep With Me, including access to Sleep With Me Plus. But most of all, just think about what your favorite podcast is or one of your favorite podcasts, and then support that podcast. It doesn't have to be Sleep With Me, but just to support your favorite podcast because they could use your support right now. And if you decide, Sleep With Me is actually my favorite podcast, well, wow, blushing, seriously, even though it's imaginary here in this context, and support it at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus, or listen to a show you love and see how they want to be supported. Thanks.